decency is revealed in speeches, but more accurately in actions. These words belonging to the Spanish moralist writer Baltasar Gracian are probably understandable to everyone, and simply have no other interpretation. After all, the eternal human sin was hypocrisy, which consists in the fact that a person does not act as, according to his understanding, he should act. Why are we talking about this? We want to talk about an important aspect such as populism, which is precisely bordering on hypocrisy. Why can't individual politicians or political parties understand one thing: honesty is the best policy? Before each election, they present their program, make loud promises to voters, get into parliament or not, but in the end they show that they cannot do without a seat. The Social Democratic Party of Kyrgyzstan is one of the oldest, founded by Almazbek Atambayev in 1993. It was even the party of power. Its members have always loudly declared that they would defend social justice, called on citizens to participate in the For Fair Elections campaigns, and generally promised paradise on earth. But what prevented this party from violating the basic code of ethical conduct of political associations for many years, and from fulfilling the requirements of the Constitution and legislation? After all, the code is applied, for example, to prevent destabilization of the situation during elections and violations of laws. It is enough to recall the elections to local councils in November 2024, which, as expected, the SDPK did not like, and almost escalated into mass riots, if not for the timely response of law enforcement officers. Returning to last year's local council elections, when the SDPK forgot its obligations to hold honest and fair elections based on the principles of openness. The Social Democrats were caught buying votes. A criminal case was opened. Searches were conducted and the main Democrats were arrested. The basis was an audio recording, where the party's chief of staff Irina Karamushkina talks with the SDPK candidate for deputy Daniyar Chalpanbeev about the statements and money, as well as how many people they were able to persuade.
Daniyar, hello.
Yes, hello.
Irina Yurievna from headquarters.
Ah, how are you, Irina Yurievna?
Yes, everything is fine with us. How are you? Where are your statements?
Statements? Wait.
Who is in charge of Precinct 1323? You or Nazar?
Both of us.
Well, the statement needs to be submitted. Everyone submits it. How many people have you persuaded? Phone numbers, where is it? We told everyone. We gave you folders, statements, we told everyone.
Folders? No, I only got newspapers. I'll check with Nazar now.
And Daniyar, you were given 15,000 for 3 agitators, weren't you? You got it, right?
I got 5,000 in advance.
And he got 15,000. Who will then get the second part, Nazar Niyazov or you?
I don't know, he said he would solve the problem himself.
Oh, it's not clear with you. Okay, I'll check with him then. If he doesn't give me the bank details, then I'll ask you. The statements need to be submitted.
Okay.
You still have Gulnara Belashirova there. She submitted the statements, but I can't understand anything about you and Nazar.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
Она сдала ведомости, а вот у вас с Назаром вообще ничего не поймешь.
Хорошо, я понял.
Давайте.
Всё, давай.
Thus, the SDPK forgot its obligations, which are spelled out in the code, not to resort to bribery, not to pay money, not to give gifts and other material values. As expected, SDPK supporters from all platforms began to talk about a fabricated case and even a political order. However, a video is circulating on the internet, where the current leader of the party Tamerlan Sultanbekov says that SDPK is financed by the international non-governmental social democratic organization Socialist International. And he promises to repay a debt to a certain citizen in 300 times the amount. It is clear that we are talking about a considerable debt, but this amount can only increase hundreds of times in one case, if the SDPK comes to power. So what happens, if they couldn't do it by legal means, then they decided to resort to dirty ones. And that means there is another violation of the Code of Ethical Conduct of Political Parties, preventing destabilization of the situation during elections and violations of laws.
Well, why? Tell them.
The Socialist International finances us, gives us money.
Well, tell them.
They won't now, because all our accounts are blocked, all our property has been seized. Look, are you aware of it or not? All our accounts, Karamushkina's accounts, even our party accounts, all our money, even the fund, everything has been seized. They've blocked everything.
That's okay, I support you, just brother, help me get my money back.
I'll find out everything. It's hard for me to sit here, and they're attacking me from all sides.
Well, you have connections, give me my money back, it's so hard for me now.
I will always support you, don't worry, all this will pay off 300 times over.
Please contact them.
We don't have that kind of money now, because there are elections, we're not just in Bishkek, we'll benefit all over Kyrgyzstan.
I went to the headquarters, but they don't consider me a person.
I'm resolving this issue.
Think about it, brother, help me, brother.
Let me see what can be done, and you should understand, can you close the door? At one time, Atambaev himself said that vote buying should be fought not by force, but only by persuasion. According to him, the revival of morality in the country will help us. People have 20 years of experience, no matter how they voted, the results were different. The former party leader was right on target, as if he sensed the future adventures of the SDPK members. Since during his rule there was no need to buy voters, they had more significant resources at that time. Over the years, the SDPK political party has been shaking the public with various scandals with enviable consistency. Either the conflict between the youth wing and the political council, or the scandal with the failed dispatch of helicopters to Somalia, or the split of the party, or, for example, in 2020, a SDPK representative used fake documents to register for the elections. By the way, speaking of the party's debts, among a whole bunch of scandals, there is one more. The advertising and production company Bainel turned to journalists with a request to publicize their conflict with the Social Democrats, and more specifically the story related to the execution of a court decision regarding this party. On September 18, 2020, a contract was concluded between Bainel LLC and the Social Democrats Party for the production of campaign materials in the amount of 1,200,000 soms. Bainel LLC fulfilled its obligations, but the party never made the payment, citing restrictions on the use of election funds. Since 2020, the SDPK has been regularly participating in elections and investing heavily in election campaigns, forgetting about its obligations to Bainel LLC. The company's representative considers this situation not only as a violation of rights, but also as a question of moral responsibility to society. After all, a political party claiming the support of citizens must demonstrate respect for the law and its obligations.
They entered into this agreement in violation of its provisions, according to which they had to make payment before the production of these campaign materials, i.e. by prepayment. However, they entered into an agreement for post-payment, and had to pay everything regardless of the results of the 2020 elections. But even after the end of the elections, the SDPK did not make the payment. In court, we proved that they received all the campaign materials and used them during the election campaign. And the court ruled in favor of Bainel LLC on June 1, 2021, to collect 1,144,000 soms and a state fee from the political party. On November 2 of the same year, a writ of execution was received, and on November 25 they were handed a regulation on voluntary execution. At that time, the chairman of the party was Tamerlan Sultanbekov, who was subject to a restriction on leaving the country. In 2022, having found a loophole, they replaced the party leader with Farid Niyazov, and Sultanbekov went to Geneva, where he took part in one event.
In addition, SDPK members deliberately want to create inadequate relations between the Kyrgyz Republic and other states, regularly complaining about the country and presenting it in a bad light. And this is a violation of another rule of the code, to refuse all types of actions threatening the loss of statehood and territorial integrity. The Code of Ethical Conduct of Political Parties in Kyrgyzstan was adopted in 2010, which is intended to implement the requirements of the constitution and legislation of our country. But it seems that the SDPK has forgotten about this code, and there is clearly a double standard here. When any association applies certain rules for a specific situation, and in another situation does the opposite. This is equivalent to a child who consciously understands the difference between behavior in public and at home.